I want to start off to say, first and foremost, if you want to decrease stress, you need to 100% care about yourself and your health. Number one, that's number one. If you do not 100% care about yourself and your health, then decreasing stress, it's not saying don't do it, but you're not going to really get to where you need to be. My name is Dr. Chandra Smallwood. I am a confidence over anxiety coach, a mom, a psychiatric pharmacist, a lot of things. But one thing I can do great is decrease stress in my life. And one of the main ways that I did that, I will talk about in this video. Please continue to listen, and we will go through all the different ways, because there was a time when I didn't know how I was going to live anymore because my stress was so high. So the reason I decided to do this video is because I asked AI, can you tell me what women have Googled over the past 3 months when it comes to confidence and anxiety, that they had questions about? And AI told me stress management. So stress management, that's my thing. So here we go. All right, so let's talk about stress. Stress, anxiety, fear, worry, they're kind of synonymous, but not really. They all have their own different definitions. For the most part, anxiety is an emotion. It's an emotion that we get from worrying too much, overthinking, for thinking about things in the future or the past. That's usually not anything happening now. We just tend to catastrophize things that'll happen, like, oh my God, I don't want to drive there. I may get in a car accident. My car blows up and I die. That's how we start anxiety. Like something more likely that will not happen or has a very low possibility of happening will just stress you out and increase the sympathetic nervous system a lot of times, or different hormones in your body that make you feel stress. Stress is the physical manifestation of anxiety, of a lot of fear, a lot of worry, just, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it's what physically happens to your body. So when you have an increase in these hormones, your heart rate increases, your cortisol level increases, you're overall just kind of overtaxing your body in a way that's super unhealthy. Now, it's fine if it happens every once in a while, because we're made for that, we're built that way. But when it happens all day, every day, and you're in a current state of stress all the time, eventually it becomes dangerous. It's kind of like if you cook, say you cook something low, like, I don't know, rice or something like that. You put it on a simmer, it's simmering, you know, it simmers for the amount of time on the box, you take it off, it's good to go. But sometimes you forget, and it simmers for way too long. What happens? It gets stuck to the bottom, it's too hard to eat, it's nasty, chewy, it's burnt, it's all that. It smells funny. That's kind of what happens with stress and anxiety when it just lasts too long. It kind of overcooks your body, for lack of a better phrase that people can probably relate to. So we want to stop that, right? We want to prevent it, and we want to be able to treat it when it happens. Because there are some times when unpredictable things happen where you're gonna feel stressed, but we need to be able to get over it, right? And that's also a one thing that makes it very important to be able to decrease stress or know how to handle it, because unexpected things are gonna happen all the time, right? Like, for me, one of the things that I cannot stand more than anything is a nail in my tire. Oh my God. Because it's like, you can drive on it, but you kind of shouldn't, and you know you have to get it changed, and you're just thinking about it, but you have to go to work, and you have to do all these things, pick up the kids, and you have all these things planned, and you have to go and get it fixed. And it tends to take, like, unless you go to one of those little shops, you go to the dealership or something, it's like a 2-hour wait. Like, whoo. So if you're already stressed and then have to spend 2 hours, doing something that you don't want to do, such as a nail in the tire, you tend to pack on more stress because you're come down on yourself. So I want you to continue to think back to 100% caring about yourself, caring about you, your mental, your physical, loving yourself, self-care. Every time you think about something stressful, or we come to a new subject in this video, you go right back to, I have to love myself 100% of the time, all the time. So another thing that unmanaged stress can do is affect your self-esteem and your confidence. When you get in a stressful state where it feels like, you're stuck, you can't really move, you can't think clearly because you have so much going on, your hormones are racing, everything is happening, you feel like, first, I don't know how to do this, I can't get things done, I'm not effective, I'm not productive. You start having a lot of negative self-talk, or not even a lot, you have a little bit, but you don't have any positive self-talk, because if you're stressed, that tends to, for a lot of people, just go by the wayside and just kind of decrease. You're more likely not reading your Bible. You're not usually doing your affirmations. You may not be doing your breathing exercises. You may not be going to the gym like you should. And all this kind of puts you in a negative space and makes you kind of have to start over again with all the work that you may have already put into yourself. And that drops your self-esteem. That drops your self-esteem because you feel like you're starting over. And everything that you have accomplished is now on pause, and you don't know how you're going to get back on track. So once again, 100% caring about ourselves, 100% loving ourselves. So first, when it comes to stress, you want to know what is stressing you. You may know, or you may not know. Or you may know but haven't really given it great thought, as in, why am I stressed? Why is this affecting me the way it is? And what can I do about it? Dealing with stress, we have to bring ourselves to a problem-solving mindset right away. So when it comes to women who are stressed, a lot of times we tend to keep the schedule right for the household. The kids, if you're married, the husband, yourself, making sure everyone has their appointments, making sure there's food, that the store is taken care of, the house is clean. You're making sure that my daughter gets mad at me for not charging her iPad. I'm like, it's not my iPad, it's your iPad. But yet she's only 4, so I'll take the responsibility for that. But women, we always have extra, like at work, men and women dynamics, depending on what industry you're in at this point, or what the leadership is like. Like, are women being treated the same? Are women being treated differently? When it comes to parents, as nurturers, we're taking care of our parents. You may even be taking care of your husband's parents, or you're doing the planning of this. Sometimes they're doing the planning of the finances as well as all of this, depending on how if you have a mate, or if you have a mate you can trust with the finances. We have to stress about our looks. We stress about aging, right? We stress about what is our skin doing. How much are these Botox treatments if you do that? The world and society are constantly on women. What they think about us in all ways. Like when it comes to a mom, like I have 2 girls. I'm not a single mom, but I am a single person with kids because my daughters have dad, and dad is in their life. But when it still comes to everything for them mostly getting done, extracurricular activities, their medical stuff, anything that they need, the school stuff, school projects, I make sure that those things get done. Like, those are my priority. If I have to remind him, hey, this needs to be done. And that's a lot. That's a lot on, a woman's plate. Like, when I think my stress and anxiety was the worst when I had my first daughter. I was a manager at a pharmacy. I was dealing with a lot of stress at work. It was just a lot of, if you've ever worked in a pharmacy, especially retail pharmacy. I won't say where I worked, but the places are super duper demanding. So, women, we always joke about it at work too. Like, I leave my first job to go home and do my second job. And some women have 2 jobs. So taking care of their kids is their third job. And it lasts all through the night because like they say, you never would sleep the same when you have kids. And usually that's mom. Not saying that dad doesn't do these things as well, but mom really, really does these things. So, as women, we have a lot more on our plate that we have to make sure that we pay attention to. And sometimes when we don't pay attention, they all start adding up, and then it feels like one big issue, when really it's a lot of little things put together. So I want to encourage you to think about your individual reasons you have stress. And a lot of times, for the times you don't know, you will get a trigger. Something will trigger you. Someone will say something and it'll trigger you. Like, I don't know, your significant other or child's father, may say, hey, your child mentioned this project and maybe you forgot about it. And then you may think, oh my God, I forgot about that. I suck. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And you're just like, man. And you yell at them because you're like, why didn't you take care of it? Which may be valid, but at that point, we're at an emotional place that we don't want to be at. So once again, love yourself, care about yourself first. Like, if your 3-year-old misses a project at school, like, is it really that serious? If it's late, is it that serious? Like, at this point, especially if you have young kids, love yourself first. Like, if something is, if you didn't make a weather project and you forgot and it stressed you out, girl, If you don't draw a cloud on that project and call it rain and turn it in and call it a day, love yourself first. Some of these things that we worry about, they're not that serious, yet we worry about them anyway. And you know, when I say that, it makes it sound very easy, and it's not always that easy. It's just that I've gotten to a place where stress cannot live. Stress cannot live in my house. It just can't. So one way of dealing with stress, especially if you're right now, if you're stressed, you're thinking about all of these things and you're like, what can I do right now? Get a journal. Journaling is absolutely amazing, and people write it off because it's kind of a cliche, and like you see it in like teeny bopper movies. You know, they have a journal with a lock on it and it's so stupid. But journaling is super powerful. First of all, when we think about things in our mind, we tend to be in total judgment of ourselves at times, and we can't always see our real feelings. We can see some of the feelings, but we cannot always see all of them, because you can only think about basically one thing at a time. When you journal, especially if you do complex journaling, you pick a topic, you pick a feeling, just one, something that's bothering you, and you write about it. You write about it for 20 minutes a day for 4 days. Just that one topic. Everything you feel about it, all the emotions of it. The anger, the sadness, the pain, how it started, what happened, how you reacted, how someone else reacted. You journal about it for 4 days, 20 minutes a day. And for those 20 minutes, you don't stop. You focus. If you run out of something to say, you can repeat the same thing you said. You can doodle, you can write a song, a poem, you can do anything, but just stay in that lane of the issue. I promise you, you will see stress decrease. I promise you. But will you do it? Because you have to put in action if you want to become stress-free in your life. Action is very important. Like these teeny bopper movies that, they have these weird diaries and stuff. They're telling us what to do, and we just don't even think about it like that. Like, they're telling us, decrease your stress now with this pink fuzzy journal, with this pink fuzzy pen. Lock it up because you really don't want anyone to see your journal thoughts. They are for you and for you only. With that little key and that little gold lock. And you write in it every time you have an issue. You have a boy issue. You have a friend issue. You start off practicing when you're young. And it helps to decrease stress. I bet the people who started journaling in their teeny bopper years are a lot more stress-free than the people who never did. I was not a journaler, but I wish I was. And I want my girls to be journalers. Get them those little diaries, say, talk about it. Talk about it with yourself. Now, am I gonna read those diaries? I don't know. I never thought about that. Let's talk about some stress management techniques. The first one being mindfulness. Mindfulness is where we want to be at all times if possible, yet it is difficult. Mindful eating, mindful exercising, breathing exercises, yoga, meditation. These are all things that keep us mindful, as in mindful equals in the moment. Like, we're only aware of our present, right? The future, we don't know. The past, it's already happened, it's gone. We are always living in the present. If we continue to live in our present, help us to decrease our stress. Because I'm driving on the freeway right now. That's my primary purpose, is to drive on the freeway to pick up my daughter. Now, I can let my mind go and drift off and think about work tomorrow, or what I did today, or what I didn't get to finish today. Or I can just sit here, the fact that it's rush hour, but I'm kind of moving. I'm happy about that. It's slow, but, it's okay. I used to get very anxious in the car. Very, very anxious. Have to pull over, deep breathe outside the car. When I was in a very anxious state. So sidebar, I had an anxiety disorder for about 20 years. Generalized anxiety plus panic disorder. When I had my first daughter, it reached a peak, and I basically thought my life was close to ending because I was so stressed. I was like, there's no way I'm not gonna have a heart attack. So I researched, I tried everything. I did everything I could do to decrease the stress. One of the main things is working out. And my stress management became a big part of my life. And it's something that I hold very close to my heart, and I love to talk to people about, which is why I'm making this video. One of the things that I leaned on was mindfulness. If there was a time when I was stressed, like, I would drive through the city and feel the anxiety coming on, and I would automatically start searching out for plants, trees. I live in Los Angeles, so there's not the most greenery around here. But wherever I could see a flower, it's kind of like when you tell your kids to look for a colored car on the freeway. It's like, oh, let me look for God's beauty in nature and find relaxation there. Because nature is one way of decreasing anxiety, decreasing triggers, decreasing stress. Because if you look at nature and first of all, the abundance of it and the beauty of something, it's amazing. Like, it really is amazing. Like, we have to appreciate every tree, flower, cliff, body of water. They're beautiful. So that's one thing I would do, was search out something natural to look at. I don't care what I saw. A palm tree, anything. I would also always keep a mental picture of something natural in my mind that would bring me relaxation, which was always basically a field of lavender, a field of purple flowers moving in the wind. Like, that is a very relaxing place for me. So I would use that. But you can use anywhere. You could even just, at that moment you're feeling a certain type of way, just Google natural spaces and look at them and be in awe of the beauty of it. Once again, focus on loving yourself and caring about yourself 100%. Because if you do that, you will look at a picture of a flower and smile, because you're like, wow, I love this. This makes me happy. And you're open to caring about yourself and loving yourself throughout that process. So I want to do a little mindfulness exercise. I know I'm driving. It's nothing crazy. But it has helped me even when I drive anywhere. I've been afraid to fly in the past, and I would use mindful exercises when I fly. So this mindful exercise works very well. However, you do have to practice. And it's something that I've practiced for years. And you also have to believe. And that is deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. When it comes to doing a breathing exercise, there's lots of breathing exercises. I tend to tell people to do a 4-4-4 breathing exercise, which is inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then basically wait for 4 and then do it all again. Because first, it's easy to remember, and second, 4 seconds is kind of very close to our regular breathing, so they don't get too out of breath, because breathing exercises can decrease your inspiration or expiration, which can slow down your breathing, which is not really dangerous for most people, depending. Like, don't do it if you're pregnant, don't do it if you have respiratory issues. You can still do diaphragmatic breathing, but you don't want to do it for very long. Like, some people do like a 5-7-8, which is inhale for 5, hold, when I say 5-7-8, hold for 7, exhale for 8. That's a long exhale. It's very relaxing. But when you need to breathe again, you're just like, ah! Some people, unless you practice. Okay, so let's do a 4-4-4. It's for people, if you're not driving, you can put one hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart, just to feel your stomach protrude as you inhale. You want your diaphragm to move, which makes your stomach go out, and the opposite when you exhale. But anyway, don't worry about any of that. We're driving. So, just gonna inhale. So I didn't count or anything this time. I inhaled. I held for like a second or two, and then I exhaled out. This helps us decrease your heart rate by increasing the parasympathetic nervous system, which is opposite the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, and you're like, kind of your stress response, survival system in your brain, your central nervous system. Your peripheral nervous system. So when you do the breathing, like I said, we're driving, so it's not a big deal. You just want to slow it down and just keep breathing slower than you were before, and focus on your breath. Like, listen to yourself breathe. So you're staying mindful on your breath and of the fact that you're doing an activity, and you're not worrying about everything else happening in your life. You just shut that off for that moment as you get through a stressful situation. If you're having one in your mind, you are going to loving yourself, you're going to caring about yourself 100%, and taking this time, no matter what's happening in your life, away from this moment. Okay? So keep that in mind. You always need to have some kind of mindfulness exercise, or you're practicing mindfulness like meditation. So the reason why meditation is great for you is because you are consistently putting yourself in a relaxed state. And when you put yourself in a relaxed state, your body is more prone to go there automatically. Same with being stressed. If you're always stressed, your body will go into a stress state. So after deciding on a mindfulness exercise to kind of keep with you, you want to do physical exercise. Loving yourself. Physical exercise is 100% loving yourself, taking care of yourself. This makes you a better person for everyone else around you. You look better, you feel better, your body's working better, you're stronger, you're more clear, you're everything. Your sleep is more regulated. Like, it's the fountain of youth, basically. basically when you're going to do physical exercise, at the minimum, to keep your heart strong, you want to do at least 30 minutes 5 times a week. Start there. Anything else is just extra good stuff. You can always Google workouts. So it's a new evening continuation. Because it got really late and dark. Anyway, physical activity. Physical activity was my medicine for getting through my anxiety disorder when I had it. I went to the gym all the time. I had a gym family. I felt supported. I always looked forward to it. I'm the type of person, if I forgot my gym clothes, I will stop at Foot Locker and buy something real quick because I was not missing gym class. That's just how I felt at the time. I don't really have that now, but mostly because of the kids. So maybe one day I'll be back there. I hope so. So when it comes to physical fitness, there's a lot of different ways you can work out, right? I mentioned earlier the cardiovascular. We need to keep our heart strong, so we want to do the 30 minutes every day, 5 days, for 5 days a week. Other than that, we have a lot of other things such as yoga and Pilates, which are more, definitely more mindful, definitely more lower impact, but very, very effective. You also have HIIT, which is my personal favorite. I love taking HIIT classes. And I think for me, it helps with mindfulness because it's usually so difficult. You kind of got to think about what you're doing to push yourself along. Because if you're not mentally there, you're not going to make it through the class. Then you have just straight strength training, right? Which is your lifting weights. That is also definitely a lot of mindfulness. Gets you strong really fast. And it also gives you a sense of accomplishment because you can easily, so if you go to like a HIIT class, I mean, you're really not usually doing HIIT by yourself. I mean, you can, but you usually do a set of, whereas maybe you do 10 burpees. Yeah, you can increase and do a certain amount of burpees the next time, but it really depends on how tired you are, if you're a woman, where you are in your cycle. It depends on all sorts of things, like if you're sleeping well. With strength training, you tend to move so slowly that you can kind of see yourself having gains. Like you can feel it. Like, okay, maybe today I can do 25 deadlifts of, I don't know, 120 pounds. And I know I probably can't push myself more because I'm struggling. You know, I'm struggling a lot on maybe the last 10. So I probably shouldn't add any more. But I can feel, okay, the next couple of times, oh, I'm only struggling on the last 5. You know what I mean? So you kind of feel yourself getting stronger as time goes on. And it feels more tangible to me, like how I can describe it as someone who frequents the gym. So if you can, find yourself a workout. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. And it also lets off endorphins and other great hormones that help to decrease depression and anxiety. When it comes to being a mom, when it comes to just being an adult, period, we have to manage our time. Not managing our time is probably the easiest way to be stressed, right? Like, we know that there are things we should do at night for the next day in preparation, and sometimes we just don't do it because we're tired. And then in the morning we're like, dang. Just like getting gas. Don't wait to get gas till the morning. Just do it, get it over with, get it at night. So when it comes to time management, we do want to try to make a schedule. We do want to try to be consistent with our schedule. Wake up at the same time if possible. We got sick, the family got sick. And so ever since the family got sick, my sleep has been thrown off. I usually wake up at 4:30, but lately I've been waking up at 6:30, 7, and it doesn't really give me enough time to do all the things I need to do in the morning and get the girls ready, like without me feeling stressed and rushed, because I don't like to feel rushed. I'll wake up at the crack of dawn just so I don't have to feel rushed. I would rather do that, because that to me is better than starting off the day in a stressful point. Like, you give yourself time to meditate or read the Bible or pray, whatever you want to do. You can do that if you give yourself enough time. You know, that also goes into more advanced practice if you're planning dinners for like the week, which is something that I don't do, but I would love to do that. I'm just not quite there yet. I'm not quite there yet. Because the girls are so picky. Like, I gotta hope that they're gonna eat what I make them, you know, because if not, then they want to snack the rest of the night, and then that gets hard. So let's manage our time. Moms, we really need to make sure to manage our time, because why? First of all, if you're not a mom, or you're thinking about being a mom or a dad or something like that, kids have no sense of urgency. They do not care at all about your schedule. It doesn't matter if you even tell them, mommy has to go to, they don't care. They're not thinking anything of it. They will walk as slow as they think they want to, because especially if you don't let them play and try to get them to go to school. Oh my God. That's my daughter. Mommy, I want to play. We got to go to school. Okay. Oh my God. Walking so slow, I can't even get with it. So if I make sure to get everything in the car, she wears a uniform, the older one, so that's pretty easy, because obviously I'm just laying out the uniform. And then her shirts and her pants are in the same drawer, so that's really easy. But making sure the backpack's in the car, the homework's in the backpack, the snacks are in the backpack, making sure all that is done the night before or very, very early in the morning is key for me to keep my stress down. I make sure to love myself and not put myself in bad situations when it comes to early morning schedules, because you never know when you're gonna miss that alarm and you're not gonna get up. Like, you just never know. So make it easy for yourself. Love yourself at all times. Third, well, next also, make sure you're seeking support. I know we want to do it all ourselves, and you probably could, but you'd be unhappy doing it and probably stressed. I try to reach out when I can to people to help me with different things. Like, my daughter is next going to kindergarten, so I'm gonna ask my mom if she can help me find a kindergarten for my daughter. Because she's retired, so she has more free time to put the love and care into something like that. Or me, I would be more, I would probably get a little frustrated faster because so many choices. So wherever you can, ask for help. If you're stressed, call someone, vent to someone that you trust. Or if not, break out that journal. But like we talk about, I saw a quote and it was saying, you know, we want the village for the child, but really we need the village for the mother. And or insert father, we need the village for the adult. Make use of your village, even if you don't want to burden anyone. Nobody wants you to be hurt. If something happens to you, you have a heart attack, a stroke or something, you end up in the hospital, everyone's going to be like, why didn't you reach out to me? I would have been there to help you. Reach out to people. They will help you. Even if they grumble a little bit, that's okay. It's better to do that than to feel like you can't. Just try. There has to be someone. Even if you have to hire someone, there are mental health lines. If you just need someone to vent to and talk to, that's also a means of support, is venting. Venting is very important. Use those lines. I will add a line. Well, for Los Angeles, they're usually citywide. I will add a line for Los Angeles into the description below. So one of the main reasons to keep stress down is to keep confidence up. Because when we feel stress, our confidence tends to plummet, tends to go a little low. And usually because we're not treating ourselves as a friend or family member, we're treating ourselves like an enemy. We're not saying positive things to ourselves. We're not doing our affirmations. We're not doing our self-care. We're not doing any of the things that show us that we love ourselves. So this is one of the main theme of this video is love yourself. Some things to increase confidence while you're going through stressful times. Be positive. You have to have positive thoughts. No matter how hard it is, you can be positive. Take away, I can't do, like, take away, like, I can't, what? Maybe I won't. No, don't take away, I won't. Take away, I'm a bad person. I may not be worth it. Take away any kind of I don't love myself. Take away anything of I've always been this way, I'll never improve. Anything that you speak negatively about yourself, take it away and fill it in with positive affirmations. You can do affirmations all day long. You can tell yourself positive things any time of the day. You go through something negative, something that's hard at work, I can do this. I'm strong enough to do this. I'm knowledgeable enough to do this. I'm knowledgeable enough to figure this. Next is pray. Praying is an art. If you don't know how to pray, first just do it, right? Just do it. If you don't know how to pray, you can always look that up. But start talking to God. He cannot communicate with you if you are not talking to him. You have to start the conversation. Start the conversation at all times. Pray, rejoice. Do all the things that you need to do in order to keep your faith strong. You can put all sorts of things. I want to be a testimony and a success story because my anxiety was really debilitating. Like, I have tried multiple medications. I was on SSRI for a long time. I'm actually not on it anymore. Yeah. And I was on it for years, just mostly because, well, I got pregnant again. I started it because I had anxiety. Well, my anxiety heightened after my first pregnancy. And then I just kind of stayed on it because I didn't really feel any side effects. And the withdrawal from it was rough. Like, when I was gonna stop taking it, yeah, it was all bad. It was all bad. So anyway, that might have happened to me this time too when I stopped it. And I didn't stop it for any reason except I spent a lot of December sick with the flu and I had food poisoning and it was just a rough time. So through that, I could have went through the withdrawal at the same time. Because I surely haven't taken it. And, I just have regular bits of anxiety. I don't know if I've told my story on on YouTube, but one day I will, if not. It's like 20 years of a span, so it's kind of a lot to think about. But the bottom line is, I didn't even know what anxiety was the first time I had a panic attack. I had never even heard the phrase panic attack. And I went from there to dealing with it for like 10 years and just still educating myself on it and not really knowing what was going to happen to my life. And then having the baby and thinking like, oh, no, I can't continue this way. Nah, we're about to nip this in the bud. And it took years, a couple of years, but I did it. And one of the ways I did it was really being honest with myself about who I was and the things I was going through, and being positive to myself. Like, I really, really started to love who I was and become my own best friend, which also helped me to, well, I was already the type of person that could do things alone. Like, I will go to dinner alone, go to the movies alone. Like, I've never really cared. That's just, I love being by myself. But it really intensified at that time. So, yeah. So that's my little story kind of summed up. So please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Please send any messages, DMs, you want to talk about anything. I am all for it. I talk to people all day about mental health, and it's something that I feel very strongly and passionate about. Yeah, I'm picking up my daughters right now. I hope everyone has an amazing day or night wherever